Hi guys, good evening and welcome to Rise and EduTech platform. Today's topic is human health and diseases, a chapter from 12th zoology. Okay, so from that chapter we are going to discuss about an important, very important topic, human immune system and immunity, types of immunity. Okay, so let us see, what do you mean by immune system? So if you take in our day-to-day life, we are exposed to so many infections. That is, we are exposed to so many microbes which causes infection. Okay. So our body is having a specific system for fighting against the infections caused by the microbes. That is called as human immune system. So what do you mean by immunity? Immunity varies from person to person. That is, the ability of a person, ability of any living being, you can say, ability of living organism to fight against infections or any other diseases. So the ability determines how much we are having immune power. Okay. So in that is human immune system. It is the system that gives immunity to the body by recognizing and remembering the foreign antigens. For example, for the first time, I am affected with typhoid. So my immune system will have memory. My immune system will form memory for this disease. So if I'm getting affected for the second time, it will act faster. Okay. So that is given in the first point. It can recognize and remember the foreign antigens. What do you mean by antigens? Pathogens will produce. What are pathogens? Disease-causing organisms. Organisms that cause diseases are called as pathogens. So pathogens will produce toxins, which are antigens. Okay. So, and again, one more role is, that is, our immune system will produce antibodies against these antigens and destroy the toxins and pathogens also. Okay. So this immune system also plays a major role in allergic reaction and autoimmune disease and organ transplantation. So graft rejection, you know what is graft rejection. So if I am transplanted with any organ which is defective in my body, my immune system will recognize it as foreign body and it will try to reject that. Okay, that is called as graft rejection. That is done by immune system. Okay, what do you mean by autoimmunity? So autoimmunity means, autoimmune disease means antigens are self and foreign. So foreign antigens are produced by pathogens. Self antigens means proteins which are present in my body. Okay, so sometimes wrongly my immune system may induce the production of antibodies against these self antigens. So due to this, autoimmune disorders are formed. Clear. So all these responses are carried out by human immune system, and it includes, that is, the entire human immune system includes lymphoid organs, tissues, cells, and antibodies. So all these four involve in inducing the immunity in human immune system. Clear. So these are the components, that is, total immune system has lymphoid organs and tissues which are present in those organs, cells, and antibodies. Even cells acts against antigens, even pathogens. Okay, so let us see one by one. What are lymphoid organs? So these are the important organs which are involved in immunity. Okay, so these are the organs where origin, maturation, and proliferation of lymphocytes occur, lymphoid organs. Okay, so these lymphocytes are involved in immune reactions. Immune reactions. Okay, so what are those lymphocytes? We will see later. Let us concentrate first about the lymphoid organs, primary lymphoid organs and secondary lymphoid organs. So what is the major role of primary lymphoid organs? They produces immune cells. Produces immune cells. Then what is the role of these secondary lymphoid organs? maturation, and the reactions, immune reactions are happening in the secondary lymphoid organs. Clear? So the primary lymphoid organs produces immune cells which acts in the secondary lymphoid organs and elicit the immune response, exhibit the immune response. Okay, so let us see what are the primary lymphoid organs. First one is bone marrow and the second one is thymus. So I think you know what is bone marrow. The marrow which is present inside the bone is called as bone marrow, and thymus is an organ which is present in between the lungs and heart. Okay, breastbone, near the breastbone. There are two lobes in thymus, right and left lobes. Clear? Okay, so what is the major role of lymphoid organs? As I explained, they produce lymphocytes. Maturation and differentiation of lymphocytes occur in, that is, immune cells are lymphocytes. Okay, so immune cells are produced, matured and differentiated. What do you mean by differentiation? There are different types of T cells. Helper T cells are there, cytotoxic T cells are there. So this is called as differentiation. And what do you mean by maturation? From bone marrow, the T cells are produced, but they are matured in thymus. Bone marrow produces T cells. T cells are matured in thymus. Okay. So let us see about bone marrow. Bone marrow produces both T and B lymphocytes. Okay, B cells and T cells are produced from bone marrow. Let us talk about thymus then. Okay, so this is thymus. Two lobes are present, and it is a bilobed organ. As I told, right and left lobes are present. It is seen near the heart and beneath the breastbone. Okay, below the breastbone, and it is large during birth. Okay, so that the infants will be having much immune system when compared to the older people. Okay, but gradually reduces in size. Thymus size gets reduced when the person grows and become very small in size in puberty. So in older age, maybe it is very, very small and disappears. Immature T lymphocytes from bone marrow is migrated to thymus and mature. As I told, bone marrow produces B cells and T cells. T cells reach thymus. Okay, in thymus, maturation happens. Okay, so these are the primary lymphoid organs. Secondary lymphoid organs, again, where the immune reactions are happening, are called as secondary lymphoid organs. The organs to which matured lymphocytes migrate. From where? From bone marrow and thymus. Okay, migrate from primary lymphoid organs, interact with antigens, and then proliferate to become effector cells. So what are the secondary lymphoid organs? Spleen, lymph nodes, tonsils, Peyer's patches, mucosa-associated lymphoid tissue, MALT, and appendix. Okay, so let us see one by one. Spleen, you know where it is located. Okay, so spleen, again, it is the graveyard of RBC. Let us see one by one again. So lymph nodes are present in the lymphatic system. Okay, and tonsils are present. A pair of tonsils are present near uvula. Okay, in throat, near uvula, a pair of tonsils are present. Peyer's patches. So Peyer's patches are present in the walls of small intestine. Okay, so it produces, that is, these are responsible for the immune response to protect the alimentary canal. Okay, so whenever the infections are happening, the Peyer's patches help to fight against the infections in intestinal tract. Okay, then mucosa associated lymphoid tissue, MALT, is also involved in immune response. And appendix, you know, it is the vestigial organ present in the alimentary canal, and it is also involved in immune response. Spleen, it is a bean-shaped organ. Contains lymphocytes and phagocytes. Okay, lymphocytes and phagocytes. Phagocytes, you know what are phagocytes, which carry out phagocytosis. Phagocytosis. What do you mean by phagocytosis? Cell eating. They will engulf the unwanted material and destroy them. Okay, so removes worn out RBCs and microorganisms from blood. So they are the graveyard of RBCs. Okay, so the worn out RBCs, after you know very well that the 120 days is the lifespan of RBC. So after lifespan, RBC will reach spleen and there it is broken down. Okay, and spleen is the reservoir of erythrocytes in fetus. Lymph nodes, they are found in lymphatic system. Again, what is the major role of lymph nodes? They trap microorganisms and other antigens and remove them. So trapped antigens activate lymphocytes. So these lymph nodes, they provoke immune response by exhibiting the antigens and cause immune response. These are responsible to increase immune response. Clear? Okay. Then MALT, mucosa-associated lymphoid tissue. It is located within the respiratory tract. They secrete mucus. Okay. So even in nose, while breathing in the air, in the atmosphere, so many microbes are there. So it will enter into the nostrils. So there the mucus, MALT is present. This tissue will secrete mucus that will make the organisms to stick to the mucus. So it does not enter into the interior part of the respiratory tract and even digestive tract. Okay. So this mucus will destroy the microorganisms which are entering through the mouth. So now I'm talking and continuously I'm opening my mouth from atmosphere. The microbes will enter. Okay. So Peyer's patches and this malt help me to avoid infections because of that microbes, and even my saliva will have some enzymes that also kill the microbes. Okay. And urinogenital tracts. So these three tracts have this mucosal secretion and that will fight against the microbial entry. Okay. It consumes about 50% of lymphoid tissue. Okay. That's all about primary and secondary lymphoid organs. Okay. Now, let us start about the immunity. So what do you mean by immunity? The ability of an organism to fight against infections is called as immunity. Okay, ability of immune system to fight against the disease causing organisms or infections, you can say. So what are the types of immunity? One is innate immunity and the second one is acquired immunity. So what do you mean by innate immunity? So by birth itself, we are having some immune system. We are having some immunity. That is called as innate immunity. During our lifespan, we are acquiring the immunity during our lifespan. That is called as acquired immunity or adaptive immunity. So during lifespan, if we are exposed to any microorganisms, our immune system will provoke immunity. That is called as acquired immunity. Okay, inborn immunity, that is called as innate immunity. Okay, so first let us see about innate immunity. It is the non-specific defense present at the time of birth. So we don't know which organism is going to enter. Okay, so by birth itself, some specific defense mechanism is present in our body. That is called as innate immunity. Let us see what are they. It provides barriers. It acts as barriers and prevent the entry of microbes or foreign agents, you can say, into our body. So this innate immunity acts as barriers and prevent the entry of microorganisms into the body. Okay, what are they? One is physical barriers, second one is physiological barriers, third one is cellular barriers, and fourth one is cytokine barriers. Physical, physiological, cellular, and cytokine. Let us see one by one. So this physical and physiological, these barriers are called as first line of defense. Because our body is not expecting any infections. Even then, the skin is protecting the entry of any microbes or toxic substances into the body. So entire body is covered by skin. Okay, this is the first physical barrier. Prevent the entry of foreign bodies or microorganisms into the body. Okay, second one is mucus coating. So where this mucus coating is present, as I explained already, mucus coating is present in respiratory tract, gastrointestinal tract, and urinogenital tracts. So wherever the openings are present in the body, that is respiratory system is having opening, and gastrointestinal system and urinogenital system is having opening. So there is a chance for the entry of microbes through these openings into the body. That is prevented by this mucus coating layer. Clear? So this is the mucus. See, this is the mucus coating. It is present outside the epithelial cells, cellular layer. This will prevent the entry of microbes. So these are microbes which are present in the atmosphere. Even all microbes are present around me. Okay. So my skin will prevent the entry of microbes into my body. Okay. So apart from that, physiological barriers. Okay. So let me explain. Saliva, tears, skin and mucus, physical barriers. Okay. Gastric HCl and bacteria. Okay. So let us see others. So physiological barriers, saliva, how it is acting. It is having lysozyme. So what is the role of lysozyme? Lysozyme will kill bacteria. How it kills bacteria? Bacterial wall is made up of peptidoglycan layer. Peptidoglycan layer. Okay. So in that peptidoglycan layer, NAM and NAG are the sugars present in peptidoglycan layer. Okay. So this lysozyme will cleave the bonds present between the sugars and destroy the peptidoglycan layer, that is cell wall of bacteria, so that it will die. Clear? And at the same time, eye is always opening. Okay, always we kept open our eyes. Okay, so tear glands are producing tears. Sorry. So tear glands are present in the eyes. So always our eyes are wet with tears. So tears also has this lysozyme that will prevent the entry of bacteria into the eyes. Okay. Next thing is gastric HCl. So gastric glands produces HCl that lowers the pH. So at low pH, all the microbes will die. All the microbes will die. Clear? So these are the physiological barriers given here. Saliva is having antibacterial enzyme. What is that? Lysozyme. And even tears, same. Lysozyme is present in tears also. Gastric HCl kills pathogens because of maintaining low pH. And even some of the bacteria which is present in the gut will kill other microbes. Kill other bad microbes. Clear? Okay. Third thing is cellular barriers. So what are cellular barriers? In nature, by birth, we are having some cells which will fight against the pathogens. For example, phagocytes like WBCs, neutrophils, monocytes, natural killer cells, and macrophages. Okay. One more thing, polymorphonuclear leukocytes. Okay, so these cells are called as phagocytes because they are involved in phagocytosis. Okay. These are cellular barriers. So whenever the microbe is entering, so if you consider this as microbe, okay, and this is my phagocytic cell, this will produce some substances to kill this microbe, or else it will engulf. It will engulf and destroy. Okay, so these phagocytosis process can be carried out for pathogen or toxin. Pathogen means entire organism. Pathogen means entire organism, and toxin means the product of pathogen. Toxins are products of pathogens. So both are killed by phagocytosis, and that is carried out by these phagocytes. Okay. Yeah, what is the difference between pathogen and vector? So vectors are plasmids, okay? That is the DNA which is present in the bacteria. These vectors we are using as transmitting vehicles, transporting vehicles for our desired gene. If you are going to produce a product, you have to isolate the gene, and these vectors carry our gene of interest into host. Clear? These are not disease-causing organisms. Vectors are not disease-causing organisms. Clear? But pathogens, if you see, they will cause disease. That is the difference. Cause disease. Okay. So fourth one is cytokine barriers. Cytokine barriers means, again, if you see, interferons. So what are interferons? Interferons are the substances, biomolecules, which are produced by virus infected cells. So you consider this as infected cell. Okay. So this is virus. It entered into the host cell. Okay. So this will provoke the synthesis of interferons. So interferons are the biomolecules. Okay. These interferons are having receptors. These are that there will be so many cells here that surrounds the infected cells. Okay. This infected cell will try to protect the other cells which are neighboring it. Okay. So those cells will have receptors. These interferons will go and bind to the receptors. That will be the signal for that particular cell to avoid viral entry. Okay. So the genes again will produce antiviral proteins. That means the proteins which will destroy the virus particles. So it does not allow the invasion, or even though if it invaded, it does not allow the multiplication of virus in the uninfected cell. Is it clear? So interferons are particularly produced by virus infected cells. Why? The virus infected cells are producing interferons to protect the neighboring cells. How they are protecting? The neighboring cells are having receptors. These interferons will go and bind to the receptors and provoke the cellular response to produce antiviral proteins. These antiviral proteins does not allow the multiplication of virus and kill the virus, so that the spreading of any disease will be infected. So these are called the cytokine barriers. Clear? So these cytokine barriers will protect the non-infected cells. Clear? So these are the four important innate immunity. Okay. By birth, we are having all these. We are having HCl production by birth. Tears we are producing always. Eyes will have tears. Okay. Mucus secretion will be there from birth. Okay. All these and interferons can be produced when when virus is getting inside from birth. Okay. So acquired immunity. Let us see what is acquired immunity. So if any infection is happening in my lifetime, okay, after birth, okay, if I'm exposed to any kind of pathogen, my immune system will provoke immune response against that pathogen. That is called as acquired immunity. Okay, so I'm acquiring it during my lifespan. Pathogen specific immunity developed during my lifetime is called as acquired immunity, and it is characterized by memory. So I already told you that if I'm infected with typhoid for the first time, it will take time actually. Okay, because my body should recognize what type of pathogen is entering, what type of toxins they are producing, and how I have to react it. Everything the immune system will work out and destroy the pathogen. So for that, it requires time. Okay, so the primary response, first time if I'm getting affected with any infections, the primary response is with low intensity. But at the same time, I'm infected with the same virus typhoid for the second time in my life. Already I'm having memory cells for that particular organism, Salmonella typhimurium. So immediately what will happen? Already there is no need to processing. Already my body has processed one time and it is having the memory for that particular organism. So it will speed up the reactions and response in high intensity. I think it will be clear now. Okay, anamnestic. The secondary response is otherwise called as anamnestic response, and it will be quick when compared to primary response. I think I made it clear. Okay, so the next thing, primary and secondary immune responses are carried out by both B lymphocytes and T lymphocytes, B cells and T cells. Okay, let us see how they are performing their actions. So B lymphocytes, they produce antibodies. Okay, so they produce antibodies into blood. So they are called as humoral immunity. So B lymphocytes involve in humoral immunity. So humoral means blood. Humor blood. Humoral immunity, B lymphocytes produce antibodies into the blood. Okay, so that it is called as humoral immunity. These are the proteins. What is the biochemical nature of antibodies? They are proteins in nature. Okay, to fight with the pathogens. So let us see in this diagram. See here, these are B cells. Okay, so this is antigen. These are antibodies. Sometimes the antibodies are present on the that is, these are receptors, B cell receptors, and this is antigen or pathogen. They will go and bind to the receptor which are present on the B cells. Okay, and the major role of helper T cells. Okay, they induce the production of antibodies. So these helper cells induce B cells to produce more antibodies and release antibodies into the blood. So these are receptors which will identify the antigen, so that helper cells, after binding this complex receptor pathogen complex, after formation of this complex, helper T cells will enter into the action. Okay, these helper T cells will help the B cells to produce more antibodies and release into the blood. These antibodies will fight against the antigens, because we cannot expect only one organism. Soon after the entry of pathogen into the host, they will get multiplied in faster rate. Okay, so just binding of one antigen to one receptor or pathogen to one receptor is enough to provoke immune response, so that so many antibodies are produced and released into the blood. So many antibodies will fight against pathogen or antigen and destroy them by antigen-antibody interaction. Clear? So next thing is T lymphocytes. So T lymphocytes help B cells to produce antibodies, and also they also involve in cell-mediated immune response. Let me explain that later. Okay. So let us see. We are talking about B cell immune response. That is humoral immune response. So I already told you that they produce antibodies. Let us see what are antibodies. So antibodies are, again, what is the nature of antibodies? They are proteins in nature. They are made up of amino acids. So they have totally 4 polypeptide chains, or 4 subunits, you can say. 4 subunits. Okay. So how many subunits are there? 4 subunits. In that, 2 are light chains and 2 are heavy chains. So in the diagram itself, it is very much clear that, so the lengthy chain is called as heavy chain, and the short chain is called as light chain. So here, this is called as variable region of light chain, because different types of antibodies are present: IgA, IgG, IgM, IgE, and IgD. Okay, so this variable region of light chain means this region will vary in different antibodies, because this is called as the region where the antigen will bind. Okay, epitope and paratope are the portions which are present in antibody and antigen for the binding. So here the antigen will bind. So if you consider this as antigen, this will come and bind. This antibody will go and bind to the antigen and destroy it. Is it clear? And how the light chain and heavy chain are linked? By disulfide bridges. Okay, you have to remember this. So these are disulfide bridges. Okay, so here a sulfur containing amino acid will be there. Here one sulfur containing amino acid will be there. So these two will form a disulfide bond. Clear? So this is called as inter-disulfide bridges. Apart from that, if you take heavy chain, 1, 2, 3, 4, 4 intra-disulfide bridges are there in each heavy chains, and 2 intra-disulfide bridges are present in light chains. Okay, and here 2 heavy chains are linked, hold together by 2 disulfide bridges. Okay, inter-disulfide bridges. Is it clear now? Both the heavy chains are linked by disulfide bridges. Heavy chain and light chains are linked by disulfide bridges. Apart from that, intra-disulfide bridges are present in both light and heavy chains. Is it clear? And if you take the unique structure of IgM, it is a pentameric structure. See, this is one antibody. If you see IgG, but there are 5 portions in IgM. Okay, if you take IgA, it is dimer. They are linked by joining chain like this. Okay, so these are all, no need to concentrate, that is remember much, but you have to remember how many disulfide bridges are there and which is binding both light and heavy chain, that you have to remember, question may be asked. Okay, so let us see the types of acquired immune response. So again, as I told, humoral or antibody mediated or AMI, antibody mediated response or antibody mediated immunity, AMI. Okay, so the second one is cell mediated response, which is carried out by T cells, CMI and AMI. Okay, so abbreviation you have to remember: antibody mediated immune response, which is elicited by B cell. CMI, cell mediated immune response, is carried out by T cell. Clear? So let us see one by one. That is humoral or antibody mediated immune response, AMI. It is the immune response mediated by antibodies. Who will produce antibodies? B cells. Antibodies are found in blood plasma. B cells will produce antibodies into the blood. So it is called as humoral immune response. Okay. So for example, see, antibodies, this is virus. Okay. And as I told, epitope and paratope, I told you, right? Antibodies are having the antigen binding site. They'll go and this is the virus and these are antigens. Okay. They will go and bind to the particular proteins which are present on the virus, so that it does not enter, it does not go and infect the cells. So virus particles is surrounded by the antibodies, and again phagocytic cells, neutrophils, they will engulf and destroy it. Okay, see, the tagged virus is destroyed. So this is the signal. Antibodies, if it is bind with virus, that is the signal for the phagocytic cells to engulf and destroy it. Okay. So next thing is cell-mediated immune response. So it is the immune response elicited by T lymphocytes, T cells. The body can differentiate self and non-self antigens, and also the CMI causes the graft rejection also. So this T cells are responsible for recognizing self and foreign bodies. Foreign bodies. Okay. Self and non-self means foreign. When it is entering from outside, that is called as foreign antigen or non-self, you can say. Okay. So T cells makes contact and release granules. For example, so these are cytotoxic T cells. Cytotoxic. Cyto means cell. Toxic means they will kill other cells. They are called as cytotoxic T cells. So this is the virus infected host cell. See, so many viruses are infected in this cell. So what will happen? This cytotoxic T cell will recognize the virus infected cell and produce granules, some granules, which will destroy the virus. Okay. So these granules induce self-destruction of this virus infected cell. So these granules will destroy the cell membrane of this cell infected cell and virus also. So all the entire cell along with virus, it is destroyed by cytotoxic T cells. So this is called as cell-mediated immunity. Clear? Okay. Next thing, graft rejection. That is, tissue matching and blood group matching are essential before undertaking any graft or transplant. Okay. So after this, the patient has to take immunosuppressive agents. So why we have to take immunosuppressants? To prevent the immune response. To prevent immune response. Okay, so for example, even in yesterday class, we saw about cyclosporin. Cyclosporin. So they act as immunosuppressive agents. Okay, so you know very well that that is the blood group matching is must before blood group transfusion. Okay, so matching of donors, we have to check with the tissues also, not only for blood, for tissues also we have to do matching. Okay, whether it will be rejected by the immune system of the recipient. Okay, so we have to check the matching with donor and recipient tissue before transplanting any tissues or organs. Okay, so here that is O blood group. O blood group can be received by A, B and AB. A blood group can be received by A and AB. Okay, B group can be received by B and AB, and AB blood group can be received by only AB. So here the O is known as universal universal donor, because it can donate to all groups. Okay, and AB is called as universal recipient. It can receive blood from all blood groups. So AB is universal recipient. Okay. So types of acquired immunity. In acquired immunity also there are different types, active and passive. Okay. For example, here also active immunity also natural and artificial are there. Let us see what is that. Passive, natural and artificial is there. So for example, naturally I'm getting infected with any kind of bacteria. Okay, so my body will naturally provoke immune system against that infection. That is called as natural active acquired immunity. Clear? My immune system will recognize the infection and naturally it will fight against the infection. Is called as, what is that? Natural active acquired immunity. Okay, but for some, if you take now this for COVID, we are taking vaccine. Even though the people who does not receive any infections, we are taking vaccine. Okay, that is called as artificially I am provoking my body to produce active immunity against the virus which I am artificially injecting into the body. That is the difference between natural and artificial. Okay, so by vaccination, without getting infections naturally, I'm provoking my body by administrating the vaccine into my body. Okay, that is called as artificially I'm creating an acquired immunity, active acquired immunity in my body. Okay, so here the passive means that is naturally the mother's blood is having antibodies in their colostrum, milk. Okay, mother's milk is having antibodies. That is called as natural passive, because passive means directly I am supplying antibodies to the patients. That is called as passive. Active means my immune system is fighting and my immune system is producing antibodies. Here I am supplying antibodies directly. So natural passive acquired immunity means antibodies I am getting from my mother's milk. That is called as natural passive acquired immunity. Artificial acquired immunity, artificial passive acquired immunity means if I am getting some infections, my immune system is very weak. It is not able to produce any antibodies and the infection is very severe. So I have to arrest the infection immediately, means I will supply antibodies which are produced artificially and supplied. Clear? So natural means mother's milk. Okay, naturally it is having antibodies. Artificial passive acquired immunity means artificially I am supplying antibodies to the patient. Okay, artificial active immunity means I am supplying the killed organisms. Here antigen you can have. I think I made it clear. If you have any doubt, you can raise your questions. Okay, so I think it is clear now. So natural active immunity, my body is naturally getting infected and acting against the infection is called as natural active acquired immunity. Artificial means I am getting vaccinated. I didn't get any COVID disease, but I got vaccinated. So I'm provoking immune system to produce antibodies against that virus. So that if I'm exposed to COVID virus, automatically what will happen? My body will easily destroy the pathogen. Okay. So that is what to say, prevention before infection. Okay. And this is natural passive acquired immunity, milk, mother's milk, you have to remember. Artificial passive acquired immunity, directly I am getting antibodies because of my very low activity of immune system or else heavy infections, you can say. So let us see active immunity. So active immunity, it is the immunity in which antibodies are produced in the host. That is active immunity. It is the immunity in which antibodies are produced in the host when exposed to antigens or pathogens. That's what I explained. So whenever I'm getting infected, my immune system, that is entry of microbe, my immune system will fight against it. That is called as active immunity. It is natural and artificial. So natural means naturally infection happens, okay, due to the entry of microbe, and my body will provoke immune system. Artificial active immunity, it is developed by injecting microbes or immunization or vaccination. Clear? Okay. So passive immunity. Passive immunity here, ready-made antibodies. You have to remember, passive means antibodies directly I am providing to the patient. That is called as passive immunity. It is also of two types: natural passive immunity, artificial passive immunity. Okay, antibodies, that is from mother's blood to fetus when it is in the womb. So that is IgG. You have to remember the antibodies, name of antibodies. So the antibody which can cross the placenta is IgG. Question can be asked. Okay. So IgG is the only antibody which can cross the placenta. And IgA is the antibody which is present in the mother's milk. That is cholesterol. That will fight against the infections if it happens in infants. Okay. So artificial passive immunity, for example, for tetanus, ATS means anti-tetanus serum. Okay. So this is very much important, because if you have any cut, this tetani organism will enter and make infections if you have any cut or wound. Okay. So we have to take this anti-tetanus serum to prevent the infections. So this serum will have antibodies against tetani. Okay, this is called as artificial passive immunity. Next, immunization. Immunization means, again, this is based on the memory of immune system, active and passive immunization. Two types are there. Okay, so active immunization is called as vaccination, as we are taking. So all citizens above 18 years, we are getting vaccinated for COVID. Okay, so this is the preparation of vaccine, either antigenic proteins or even pathogens or inactivated pathogens, killed or live attenuated vaccines. There are different types of vaccines. It is a broad subject actually. Okay, so it results in the, that is we are injecting pathogen which is inactive. It does not produce disease, but it will provoke immune response. And antigenic protein. So here also we are making it non-virulent. We are making it non-virulent. So we are removing the virulent part of the pathogen. So during actual infection, the antibodies neutralize the antigens. Okay. So automatically what will happen? So my body will produce antibodies. Okay. And whenever I am getting infected to that organism, my body will fight against these antigens. That's all. So the vaccines also generate memory B cells and memory T cells. Okay, so these memory cells will protect me when I am getting infected by the same virus or bacteria in future. So they recognize the pathogen quickly. So primary response will take time. But if I'm infected with the same virus for the second time, the response will be faster. Okay, so vaccines are produced, for example, polio vaccine, hepatitis B vaccine, diphtheria toxin vaccine. So many vaccines are available. Okay, so vaccines are produced using rDNA technology. So rDNA technology, yesterday in biotechnology class, we learned. Okay, so we can produce based on the gene. If you isolate the required gene, we can produce a large amount of antibodies in industry. Okay, so next, passive immunization. So passive immunization here, again, preformed antibodies. So active immunization, I am giving antigen or pathogen, and my body is producing antibodies for future exposure. So if I'm going to infect with, in future, I don't know, I may get infected with any kind of virus. But if I have vaccine, my body will produce antibodies against it. But here in passive immunization, directly I'm giving antibodies to my body. That is called as passive immunization. Okay, this is also called as antitoxin. So toxin means antigen. Antitoxin will destroy antigen. Antitoxin will destroy this toxin, act on this toxin and kill it and destroy it. Okay, so it is required for quick immune response. For example, snake venom. So snake venom, again, what is snake venom? It is also protein. antigen. Okay, so the snake, when it bite, it will deliver the antigen into the blood. Okay, so again, we have to have antibodies readily, because soon it will act on the systems and destroy the activities of the systems and leads to death. So immediately, if you supply antibodies against these antigens are getting destroyed. So it cannot act inside the body. It won't destroy any systems. Okay, so immediately we can protect our body by supplying with antibodies. So all these antibodies can be produced in industries and used. Okay, thank you. If you have any doubt, you can raise your questions. Any question? So I think I made it clear.